because I figured it would be a sure sign of the Patriots.
Well, I thought that's what, in sympathy, you were just giving them
No,
a
no, this is just
little
this
bit of
is.
boost.
I probably should. That probably sounds a little better, I would think.
There you go. Now we got the FM sound.
Yeah, we wanted the right sound there. I forgot to. I don't know how I forget to do this a couple of times, but I've forgotten a few times to pull down the microphone. Anyway, we are live. It's Michael Knight, New York, Vinnie. It's a little after 10 o'clock or 10 to 7 by my clock here.
It's a freaky fractious Friday.
It is a fractious Friday. It's a 3-day weekend. It's a President's Day weekend, and this was a weekend that traditionally didn't exist.
For this president, it doesn't exist as well. There's no President's Weekend for this president. I thought about it, and I thought about he wanted a fortnight anyway. He wanted 14 days of partying in his name, and we can't do that. So he gets nothing, and he's going to have to like it. And he should get used to that, Vinny, because this president's going to get more and more nothing as his term extends to its full length, if he makes it that far. Somehow I have my doubts. But as a president, he gets nothing. He gets nothing but the
disdain,
the resentment of his people, and the thanks of a nation if he would just leave. And he can leave anywhere he wants. He can leave, take the limousine and drive away, or something more permanent. It's really up to him.
Well, I don't know that he's going. To tell you the truth, I don't think he's apt to leave anytime soon.
I'm having this sensation that the Epstein thing is going to finally claim him. It will be gradual and continual, and the pressure is going to be more than he can withstand.
Well, I just don't. I don't see that. I was convinced at one time. As a matter of fact, I was convinced that after his first term, that he would get on a boat, get his family, get on a boat. I remember we talked about this, and head off to Bimini, a la Adam Clayton Powell.
I still think you should do that.
But that's not him. He's not. He's a psycho.
Yes.
And he doesn't think that he's done anything wrong. As a matter of fact, he thinks that everybody loves him. I mean, he's going to sue the New York Times, I think it is, or the Washington. Well, no, not the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, for publishing a poll that shows him his approval rating at 32%. He wants to sue a newspaper for publishing a poll.
He's going to sue his own Justice Department for keeping him up at night.
Yeah, he's a psycho. He's just certifiably psychotic, and so I don't think the Epstein tapes are going to do anything to him, and I don't think the only thing that's going to neuter him a little bit is if there is in fact a massive victory by the Democrats coming up in November, and they render him helpless. They neuter him.
Yes.
And he still won't go.
Because the threats that he makes and the ammunition that he uses against his own people is all based on what he's going to do to you if you don't follow him. He will run someone against you. He will insist that no money be spent on your campaign, that the national Republicans will cut you loose. Threat after threat after threat. If those can come true, there's a chance that you will fold to his point of view. But if that doesn't come true, if he no longer wields that power, if his thoughts about you running can be changed based on support for your candidacy, then I see his strength growing. But if that disappears, then his strength will wilt, and his influence over the party, which is extensive now, and it's their own damn fault. They did it to themselves. Then that influence will evolve into something else. It'll be a negative instead of a positive. And I think that he will bring that about, and it'll destroy him when it's intended to destroy other people within the party who don't follow him. This is a turnabout, a sudden and extraordinary turn of events. In baseball, it's like a triple play. It doesn't happen very often. When it does, believe me, the side is out, and you feel like, how the hell do we do that? How do we hit into a triple play? It's impossible. I've never seen one in my life. How did I hit into a triple play? Well, Donald Trump's going to hit into the triple play. He's going to get the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives all at once will come into play.
Well, you know, it's wishful thinking.
I agree.
And I think there's a number of us who'd love to see it happen. There's a number of us who would like nothing more than to just see him gone and suffer in his leaving. But the cult, the people that love him, number one, aren't going to change. But number two, more importantly, I just don't see these Republicans coming off of it yet. I mean, I would think with this Epstein stuff that they would have distanced themselves from him and his ilk, the people in the White House, like it's going out of style. I would have thought that yesterday when that witch that is our Attorney General, when that witch was testifying, that Congress people would have, Republicans and Democrats would have stood up in outrage that somebody could come in front of them and act like that. I mean, we haven't seen that since, I don't think we've ever seen anything like that, to be honest with you. I was going to say we haven't seen that since Watergate, but even the Watergate people came in and had a sense of contriteness and a sense of reality about them.
There was probably Haldeman and Ehrlichman brought an attitude, but nothing like what Pam Bondi showed us yesterday. She's rude. She's crude. She's a liar. She's a distorter. And she thinks that the number at Wall Street is in dollars when it's in points. She thought that it was the market had gone to $50,000, which is absolutely hilarious. And wondered at that point why the panel was laughing, because she didn't know the difference between a dollar and a point. The show that she put on was an embarrassment to anyone who's ever served in government at any level. It's not your prerogative to be
except people in the DMV. Now, I've seen her at the DMV. I mean, that's what she reminded me of. She reminded me of somebody who you wait online for 2 hours at the DMV, and you get up to the window, and they are so indifferent and so buzzed out of their job that they just they make it a point to abuse you.
My last 2 times at the DMV turned out all right. I had the opportunity to try, and you ever try to out-polite somebody, be really nice to somebody?
Oh yeah, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't.
True.
But yeah, I mean, it can be it can be a harrowing experience at times. And she seemed to be able to corner that part of civil service, That's the part that she had. She had that DMV attitude of "screw you, I'm in charge," and just a real attitude. And some people say, "Well, you say that about because she's a woman." No, she was. I would not want to live next door to her. I wouldn't want to be married to her. I wouldn't want to go out with her on a date. I wouldn't want to be in the same room with her. She's just she is
It's poisonous.
she's a junior Donald Trump. She's more Trump than the Suns are.
Now you see why the people that are gathered around him who work on his behalf, the Cash Patels and the Pam Bondis and the other sick individuals who have a faulty outlook on life and have chosen Trump to be their champion and to serve him and to honor him and to propaganda his existence. They are sick individuals and they are drawn to him because of the sickness. It's not a normal, healthy relationship. It's not something you want for yourself. It's not something you want your family to ever experience. But they welcome it. They embrace it. And they are dark, odious people who have used the darkness to further their own negative goal-directed behavior. It's bad juju. You don't want to be with them. You don't want to think like them. You don't want to be affected by being close to them. It's poison.
Some people do, though. So there are some people, that love that. They look at that and they were cracking wine last night, cracking bottles of wine and celebrating and saying she sure gave it to them. She sure stood up to Congress. She sure, which in a different circumstance, you might almost agree with. In a different circumstance, you could look at somebody who stuck it in Congress's face and say, because we all look at somebody like that, and when she thinks like we think, we love it. But when she's on the other side, we don't like it. But there's a certain respect that you should have for these people, and she didn't show it. She didn't show any kind of decorum because she doesn't fear. They don't fear anybody because they have the law on their side right now, and nobody seems to be willing to do anything about what's going on.
The courts have turned on it. There were several cases this week that were decided for the opposition to Trump, and the only thing they do have on their side is the law, and the law is coming through, and the judges, even those appointed by the Republicans and especially those appointed by Trump as well, have brought the law to bear to put the brakes on them, to stop them in their tracks, to turn them away in their ideas in terms of immigration and the tools that they're using to enforce their immigration laws and the way they treat people and the way they treat innocent people who have no business being arrested, no business being charged. When they get their case to court, invariably win, and Trump loses.
Right.
Because it's the only thing that stands in. It's the only thing that stands in his way. I know what you mean, Ben.
It's still causes people pain. It's still until a judge stands up and says, or a court stands up and orders them to get those people off the street, to strip them of their guns, to say to them, you are only to go after people who are in this country illegally, and you're only and who have criminal records. You're not to take family members. You're not to take kids. If you get somebody and they're deemed to be a non-dangerous person, you have to give them time to get somebody to pick up their kid. We don't take 8-year-old kids into custody.
Plus, there's the idea that once you're in their custody, they don't have to get you a lawyer. They don't have to do the booking and the filing of charges against you in a timely manner. You don't get representation.
Right.
You don't get time before a court or anything to do with your case. You can wind up in Libya or El Salvador or in Texas. Probably that's the worst of the three. And there you have it. You've been dealt with illegally, and there's no one to stop you from continuing to be in their custody. They've got you, and it's illegal, and it's wrong, and
And,
it's not the
and there,
American way.
yeah, and there also needs to be a penalty for these people that go in and arrest the wrong people. I mean, there was one case I was reading earlier this week about ICE agents went into a Target store and they grabbed up two people that work at the store and handcuffed them and dragged them out in front of their coworkers, in front of the public, in front of everybody. Dragged them out like they were animals, because that's how they treat the people, like animals.
Yes.
And turns out that they had to let them go 2 hours later because they were American citizens.
Well,
and they had a perfect legal right to be here.
the funny thing is, in America, we don't have to prove we're citizens. I'm a citizen. Well, can you prove it? Can I prove it? Can you prove I'm not? The pressure, the power of the proof is on the individual. Show me your papers. Prove that you belong here, or else you're coming with me, and you'll end up in Texas overnight. And after that, we can send you anywhere we want to, any black site, and whether you are or not. I say you're not a citizen. You can't prove that you are one, so you're coming with me.
Yeah, well, that whole idea of innocent until proven guilty has gone out the window.
And the window's wide open. A lot of shit's going to go out the window after that.
And what happens is, I believe that it makes it tougher. These ICE guys, women, whatever they are, come in, and they come into a jurisdiction, and they do this, and who is left to clean up the mess? The local cops.
And the governor of Minnesota is saying, you guys left. You've left like you said you were going to leave, but you didn't clean up your mess. And the loss was $18 million a day based on shops closing,
Right.
employment ending, damage to the infrastructure of the city, fear and loathing, killing innocent citizens. And who's going to pay for that?
Yeah, there's a great scene in the Sally Field and Paul Newman movie, excuse me, where she plays a journalist in South Florida, and Paul Newman's friend reads a headline. Absence of Malice is the movie, and her Paul Newman's friend reads a story that's false about Paul Newman, and she commits suicide. And Sally Field, who was misled by these federal prosecutors, says she's sorry to Paul Newman, whose friend committed suicide. And Paul Newman just looks at her and said, what about my friend? Who do I see about that? And it's a line in that movie that always stuck with me, because when the government does these things, who do the people who are affected by this see about that? Who do the shopkeepers in Minnesota? Who do the families of the people who were killed? Who do the people that were injured? Who do all of these people see
beaten and gassed
about that? The people who were beaten and gassed for doing what the right has always said that you needed to do. Be prepared if the government, right? What is the thing we've always heard about why people need to have guns? So we can take up arms against the government or against a force who is trying to create havoc. And, in other words, you need a gun because you never know when another country's troops is coming ashore, and you need to defend yourself, right?
Or
To
your
defend
own
yourself.
country's troops. Your own country's
Well,
troops come to.
yeah. What about if your own country's troops are coming through the door? I mean, it's criminal that the NRA or any of these groups have not stood up for this guy who was shot because he had a gun. Didn't unholster it, didn't use it. Now, when that idiot kid walked through the crowd a couple of years ago and started shooting at people with his shotgun, with his rifle, they stood up for him. They made him a right-wing hero. They paid for his defense, and they paid for he's a celebrity.
And they brought him to all the rallies, and they used him as a focal point of
they got a kid and they used him.
American rights in abeyance. And this kid stood up and said, "No, the streets are mine, and no, you can't act that way. I've got my gun, and I'm not afraid to use it."
Meanwhile, this guy did the exact same thing, except he didn't shoot at anybody. I shouldn't say that. He didn't do the exact same thing. He went to a place to help people with a gun. His intent was not to go to shoot at people. His intent was to help people.
And he had a permit to carry it.
And he had a permit to carry it. He had every right in the world to carry that gun. It probably wasn't the best idea to bring it with him. I'll say that. Had I been in a similar situation, I probably wouldn't have brought a gun to that situation, but he did. He felt like he needed to protect himself.
Hard to predict when he was getting dressed in the morning and deciding to take the gun, what kind of day he was going to have. And it came upon him pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that, and no, but who's speaking out for him? Who on the right, the great defenders of gun rights, are speaking out for him?
And who in the Department of Justice is investigating his murder, even inquiring?
They're hiding it.
Who's keeping track of those officers that were part of his death, that contributed to his demise? Who is taking care of them? Where are they? What are their names? What's their background? What are the charges? Is anybody investigating it? Where's the evidence of that day? Who's keeping it? And now they're pulling out of town. Where's it going to be in a couple of days? Who's ever got the stuff today? Where's that file going to be in a month?
Well, the government, it's funny how all of these people love the government when it's convenient. They love the Second Amendment when it's convenient for them to love the Second Amendment. But the minute that the Second Amendment isn't used to their advantage, the minute that the Second Amendment is used by somebody else, the minute the Second Amendment is used for really what it should be used for, to protect yourself against a tyrannical army, silence. Nothing.
Well,
where are the people who stood up after Sandy Hook and said, well, you can't ban guns. You can't stop guns.
This is the wrong time to talk about it.
Where are the people that after school shootings, you can't ban guns? People have to have their right to carry guns. Well, he had a right to carry his gun, and what did he get for it?
10 in the back.
It's I don't know. I just I can't believe the people that don't see the hypocrisy in that.
Well, if they're going to withdraw from Minneapolis and arrive somewhere else, the city has not been mentioned. There's been suggestions, but the threat is we're going to the next city. We're going to do this again. Unfortunately, that's probably true. But fortunately, now we know how to respond. The citizens of whatever city is coming up, Schenectady or wherever it may be, will, I think, take on the guise and the personality of the Minnesotans, the people from the Twin Cities who took to the streets and made ICE their target, made the enemy real. It's not the guy from Mexico that's working in somebody's front yard or putting a roof on their house. It's the forces that have been sent to the city by the government that works against the people. That's your enemy. That's the target of your anger and your focus of the display of fighting the trend in the streets, peaceful demonstrations, and a ongoing block to everything that ICE has planned for your city and your streets.
Well, I'm pretty sure that if they go to Maine, which has been mentioned as a place that they feel like going, I'm pretty sure that if they go there, they're going to meet. I mean, I know people in Maine. Know a lot of people in Maine, and I'm pretty sure that they're going to meet the same type of resistance, if not more, than they saw in Minnesota.
Why would Maine be the next target? I hadn't heard that, but I just
can't. Well, it's a border. It's a border state, and evidently they think that there's a lot of. For some reason, they think that there's a lot of. Well, it's a liberal state. That's why. I mean, let's call it for what it is. I'm surprised they're not showing up more here. To be honest with you,
senators.
You know,
Susan Collins is Maine senator. She's Republican.
Yeah, no, but but she's about as liberal as a Republican gets.
Yeah, we can't rely on her. We can't rely on her vote.
Yeah, but that's where they're going. This is interesting. I'm watching from Ireland, and it's sad to see the divide in America. Politics has become a blood sport where neither side can tolerate the behavior of the other. Well, first of all, thank you for watching from Ireland. My kid just was over in Ireland not too long ago. Had a great time. And thank you. Tell your friends about us.
Is that an Irish cat there looking at us?
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah.
Irish kitty cat?
Yeah, you could see. She's got two little, she's got green eyes, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, we have always had divides in this country, just as Ireland has suffered through the divides between the Protestants and the Catholics, a divide that doesn't seem to go away. So it is in this country and in any country that has had a civil war, those sides are still there. That divide is always going to be there, and that the challenge is to make the government work anyway, to find some way to be bipartisan on some issue. And then we don't suffer so much from the divide just between the Republicans and the Democrats. But it's a blood sport, as you say, because now the lifeblood of the democracy is at stake. In fact, is in jeopardy. And this next election, if there is no challenge that threatens that election, I'd be surprised. That's where we're headed, cutting off our democracy from the power of the people and the power of the vote, the power of the individual to participate in his democracy through voting, through campaigning, through demonstrations, through the use of the amendments to the Constitution that give us the freedom that we enjoy, freedom to assembly, freedom of the press, freedom of speech. If those are going to be challenged, and they're all on the chopping block right now. So the reaction to that can't be mealy-mouthed, can't be modest, can't be unequal to the challenge. It's got to be strong, vociferous, and the power of the electorate has to be involved in the streets, peaceful demonstrations. Those are the things that we use as weapons to maintain our relationship with our government, with our fellow citizens. And the streets are ours, not Donald Trump's. and they belong to the citizen, not to the executive branch. And he'll see that over and over again before he's done.
Well, you're going to have to see people willing to do what it takes to make the change.
But thanks for
Um,
writing from Ireland. That's very nice to hear from you.
yeah, it's people are going to have to be willing to get out into the street and make the changes. They're going to have to be willing to do what the guys that wore this hat so many years ago were willing to do. Willing to go out there and take the day off of work, or give up a day's wages and do what needs to be done to show this government, this president and his cronies, that as citizens you're not going to take it anymore. And it has to be more than just monetary. And unfortunately, that's what people are worried about now. If you keep the general cost of things high enough that people can't take their eyes off the prices of bread and milk and eggs and this and that and gasoline and so on and so forth, it makes it harder for you to pay attention to what the government's doing.
Well, that's true, Vinny, and it's the responsibility of the citizen to remain informed and involved and engaged, and that's your job. As I said, you don't just get to wear your Hawaiian shirt and say what a beautiful day it is. That's not enough. Voting is imperative, and taking active part in the representation that we have now, we see how important it is, because you get yourself a Republican who's pledged his body, his thoughts, his mind, his energies, not to you, not to the government, not to the nation, but to Donald Trump. That's a politician that can't be trusted, and they can't be returned to office.
And that's what you have, and that's what you're dealing with right now. You're dealing with politicians who are not true to their oath. They step on the oath of office as if they stepped on a doormat. They have pledged allegiance to a dictator. They pledged allegiance to a wannabe dictator. They pledged allegiance to somebody who is looking to hurt this country, not help this country.
I just want to interject something of a completely different nature. This is for you, Vinny. I've got a new jacket on that I just got, and you probably can't read it, but I'm going to read it for you. Beatles, 1965, Shea Stadium, NYC.
I like that.
There you go.
How did you come across that? Was that a present for you?
I got it for my birthday from my daughter and her husband and their two loving children. And here it is, Beatles 65.
Very cool.
Shea Stadium, which I wear in honor of you, Vin, because I've never been there.
And
I'm not going there because you can't go to Shea Stadium anymore.
You can't go to, well, you can go to home plate. It's in the parking lot. You have to make sure that somebody didn't park their Buick on top of it, so you can see it. But it's there. But very nice. When was your birthday?
January 31st.
I didn't know that. Happy birthday. You didn't say anything. You got to say something about these things, Michael.
I'm too old.
Nah, you ain't too old. Hell, what did you just turn 70?
79.
79. Holy crap. That's a good age, man. 79's just think 1 year from now you'll be 80.
Well, I was going to not tell you it was 79. I was going to give you a hint. And it would be the 49er who wore number 79. Yeah, so the hint would be Bob St. Clair, and his numbers retired. He was the 6'9" offensive lineman who also became the mayor of Daly City.
And ran a liquor store on the corner of was it Sanchez? No, it wasn't Sanchez. It was, I think, Noe and 24th
Really?
in St. Clair's Liquors. St. Clair's Liquors was there
He
for
and
years. I
Leo
don't know if it's still there.
he and offensive lineman who played both ways, actually, Leo Namalini, were the two great linemen of the 49ers, and both of them have retired. Both their numbers have been retired. Both went to the Football Hall of Fame. Both were professional wrestlers, although Leo Namalini was more of the wrestler than Bob St. Clair, who got into politics. But 73 and 79 are retired for the 49ers, and it was because they were part of that wonderful lineup that had the $1 million backfield. They had Hugh McElhaney, Joe the Jet Perry, John Henry Johnson, Y.A. Tittle, John Brody, Billy Williams, John David Crow. But
Wow.
the great days of so many of the numbers that are retired for the 49ers came from that team, came from that grouping of players. And it was a great year. They weren't champions, but they played like champions.
They were that was quite from reading my 49er history. That was quite a team. By the way, George Washington did wear one of these hats.
Excellent.
I just looked it up. It's 17th and 18th century was when they were created in the 17th century and were popular 17th, 18th, and part of the 19th century. George Washington.
What was it about that hat that made it popular? Because it's such a silly design that for it to be popular with everybody, you just say, well, it had to be a reason. Like why does everyone wear ball caps? Well, they're easy. They got a.
It was easy for them to shoot their muskets
because the muskets sort of flared when gunpowder went off.
Well, if the hat had a brim and it came down, you couldn't see.
Right.
You didn't have a scope on a musket. You just had you kind of looked down the little ball that was there and aimed at it, what you were shooting.
Paul Revere wore one on his famous midnight ride, or so we were led to believe.
Listen, my children, you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere.
You probably know the answer to this, but what famous landmark in Washington is a nightly reminder of one if by land, two if by sea? The answer is the Washington Monument has two windows at the top, lit with red lanterns, and they correspond to two if by sea.
When you said Washington, I was thinking here, like Seattle. Washington D.C. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Yeah, it's still it commonly worn by the aristocracy, the military, and civilians, and became a symbol of the American Revolutionary War.
Huh. So they didn't wear tie-corner hats in England then?
No. I think they did actually. I think there were. It's also there's a ballet called a three-corner hat, based on the novel El Sombrero de Tres Picos by Pedro Antonio de Alarcon.
It's a ballet?
A ballet. 1919 by Manuel de Falla, featuring sets by Picasso. A comedic story of an honest miller whose wife is pursued by an elderly local governor who's wearing the three-cornered hat. The miller takes revenge by dressing as the governor and seducing the governor's wife.
Typical ballet opera. I see. Did I tell you the story about I almost ran down Mikhail Baryshnikov?
No, I'm glad you didn't.
I came close to ending his life on Van Ness Boulevard. He was dancing in San Francisco at the Opera House. He was crossing Van Ness Boulevard to go to work to dance. and I was going to make a right turn off Van Ness into the cross street, and the two of us came together. He came in the crosswalk, and I was going to make a turn. So I'm in the crosswalk, and I go, hit the brakes, and he does a scissor kick and dances out of the way of my car, makes it to the sidewalk safe. He never took his hands out of his pockets. So that's how close I came to ending his ballet career and going to jail and being forever known as the morning disc jockey that killed Mikhail Baryshnikov.
The guy who took out Baryshnikov. Wow. That's
and he, in my opinion, multiplied his reputation many times over by doing the scissor kick and jumping out of the way of the car and making it to the sidewalk without ever mussing his hair or getting his hands out of his pocket. And it just, I was impressed with his athleticism and the fact that I didn't kill him. That was pretty good news.
Yeah, I'm sure he was grateful that you didn't kill him.
Not that I didn't try.
Well, you gave it a shot. Fortunately, you missed. It happens. It's part of American folklore that you weren't wearing a tri-corner hat when you tried to do that, were you?
No, not that I remember.
How do you? These are a little, actually, it's quite comfortable. I got to think that the wind resistance on this thing is a lot less than a regular hat. I can't see it blowing up off of your head with the wind kind of pushing it this way.
I think you got a point there. The auto design would reinforce that. We'll have to put it in the wind tunnel then with the latest car that you're driving. By the way, what are you driving? Well, Vinnie, what are you driving?
Yeah, I believe it or not, I'm driving one of my favorites. Let me see. Let me make sure that I have it. I have it loaded up here. I don't know if I actually loaded up, but I'm driving a Subi this week. A Subaru Crosstrek, and many people have been waiting for this to come along. The 2026 Crosstrek Hybrid. Now, I know a few people that have bought this Crosstrek, and they love it. They think it's one of the best cars that they've ever owned, and it's for several reasons. It's one of those cars that acts as a car. It acts as a station wagon. It comes in a hybrid where you can get spectacular gas mileage with it. I mean, it's a solid car.
Safe car, four-wheel drive, great reputation.
Oh yeah, all-wheel drive. And so for 2026, they made some nice improvements. This hybrid, of course, two electric, not one but two electric motors, so that the all-wheel drive is it maintains the all-wheel drive, gets great gas mileage. It's comfortable. It's roomy. They didn't change it so much that it doesn't look like the older one. So if you're driving an older one, they still kind of look the same, the basic character of the car. But, they put some fancy wheels on it. It's roomy inside. It's one of those cars that you can and it'll be great to see the Wilderness Edition when it comes out. But you can see there's room in the back seat, leg room in the back seat. The front seats are comfortable. It has a ton of safety equipment in it, including Subaru's self-driving, well, not complete self-driving, but lane keeping stuff called EyeSight, which allows you to almost drive the car on the freeway without touching the brakes or the steering or anything like that. It's not a complete hands-free system like the Ford Blue Cruise is, but it's pretty close. And again, lots of room if you are going to take this thing camping, and a surprising number of people that buy these cars take them camping. They outfit them. They put I've seen kits for the roofs of these cars to have a platform and a ladder. So you throw your stuff in here and you climb up to the top of the car and you sleep in the tent on top of the car. Now, I'm a
Wow.
little too old for that, but there's a lot of people that are doing it.
Well, it keeps your ability to sleep anywhere and go anywhere and be safe with your cars multiplied when you have those kits that are they made by Subaru or the aftermarket things?
They're aftermarkets, although I think you can get them from a Subaru dealer.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about the interior in this car is that they they have the screens and everything's digital in the car now, so they're easy to read. You can configure them to what information you want to know. But it's a little touches. I mean, I know this is weird, but when I get in the car and I see um like the orange stitching in the steering wheel, it's not just the regular black stitching, but they put a little something in there to make it a little bit cooler.
Uh-huh.
To because you spend, as Bob Lutz told me once, who's the general head of General Motors for many years, he says the thing you got to do if you're making a car is make the interior palatable, make it fun, because that's where people spend most of their time. I said it's nice to have a good looking car, but nobody really stands outside of their car and looks at it. They get in the car and they drive it. You want the interior to be something that's attractive and engaging and easy. And
I agree. I
some of these
agree. Good
car
idea.
interiors you see today with all the digital will drive you crazy. But the Subi, it's really it's a solid car. It has the reliable boxer engine has been improved again. I think you get around 215 horsepower in this car. Don't quote me on the 215, but it's in that neighborhood, and it's enough to move this car along nicely. I haven't taken it out on the highway yet. I'm sure a wilderness edition will be coming along that will, make this car, um, raise it a little bit. So if you want to take it off road, you'll have that ability to do it. But a car I'm looking forward to enjoying my time in the Subaru. I'm going to actually get to take it on the road down to Portland. Next week is the Portland Auto Show. And so we're going to, I'm going to go down there next Thursday. So I think Friday I might be coming to you from Portland.
What's the
And
Portland Auto Show going to be doing? What's their big deal this year?
I'm not 100% sure what they got. I mean, it's, they have the newest stuff down there. I know that Infiniti and Honda has a couple of cars that they're going to be showing for the first time. I know that one of the things we'll be talking about tomorrow on Drive Time is Toyota getting further involved in electric cars. And Toyota showed their electric EV Grand Highlander earlier this week. And I don't know if that car is going to be at the Portland Auto Show, but with all of the stuff about electric cars going away, I would say hold on a second.
Yeah.
If Toyota's getting involved in electric cars, that's a huge thing. That tells me that the electric car is not ready to be discarded by the public. Toyota doesn't have too many losers. This will be their fourth electric. It'll be probably the most practical one for a family. And the Grand Highlander is a great car that it doesn't get the love that it probably should. But it's a solid car, and if you can't get a RAV4, you might want to look at the Grand Highlander because it's a solid effort. So I think that's it. It's going to be interesting to see because Portland is one of the most friendly electric car cities in the country. I think I don't know what their rate of electric car EV registration is, but it's a high rate of registration of electric cars.
And
so
they have charging stations. They're the infrastructure, the friendly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they have. They're probably. I mean, again, I haven't seen a study on this, but I would bet you that Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco are the three. Well, LA too. I mean, the West Coast has a pretty good charging infrastructure. There are
Well,
some spots
I wish that you had been
where,
with me the other day. I was driving on the 101 and I could see 5 Teslas in front of me
oh
on
yeah,
and so I would think that the infrastructure and the charging ability in and around the county of Los Angeles would be well built in and available. And I see the penetration of the electric market in LA, where every kind of car in the world is here. And you would love the Woodland Hills area on Sunday. Sunday's the day the guys with the collector cars in the nicer neighborhoods in the valley bring them out. And I saw 2 cars. I had no idea what the hell they were. They weren't labeled. They were custom. They looked like an XKE with a convertible, but I had no idea what it was. And
yeah.
it's not unusual to see people bringing out their Ferraris and their
Lamborghinis,
sports cars of
Oh,
collecting variety, old Corvettes. And Sunday's the day they're on the 101.
it's I call it. I wish I never sold mine day, because as
Yeah.
you look at those, you just look at them and you say, "Damn, I wish I never would have sold mine." But it's LA. I mean, LA's the capital of car culture. Still is. Always will be. I mean, it's where the great designers. When the foreign companies come to this country, the first place that they go is to LA, because it's the heartbeat of the car industry. The design studios are down there. The Great Peterson Automotive Museum is down there. The Kia has their design studio down there. All of these different
And the art colleges down here have design departments. You can go to school in Los Angeles and learn how to design cars with the best and with the people who design them on an ongoing basis for new development of models that are both going to be immediately marketed, and then the dream cars that the autos companies are always making.
I think one of the sad things, though, is that AI is developing so rapidly on the car end that I don't know. I get afraid that the human element is going to be taken out of designing cars, which is sad.
Well, just think of what you said. The human element will be taken out, so that leaves a product being made by a machine that's not going to appeal to humans. It's going to appeal to.
We'll see.
What?
A lot of these cars these days are designed with a lot of computer input. Not complete, but it's because it's going to be about cost. The car companies have taken a bath with electric cars. And not necessarily with electric cars, but with Trump taking the incentives off of buying electric cars.
And tariffs.
Many of these manufacturers have taken an absolute bath and are writing off huge losses on these on their plants and on the cars and so on and so forth, and have stifled the growth of American cars. Electric cars.
It was strictly willful on Trump's part. It wasn't necessary at all.
Well, yeah, it's like the environment. I mean, now they're pulling the environmental, destroying the EPA, pulling the incentives to make cleaner running cars is being destroyed by the Trump administration.
Making efficient cars that don't harm the atmosphere and the ecology is now being frowned upon. Don't make your cars that way. Make them Trump's way. Make them poisonous and make them a negative in society. because that's what Trump's all about. Multiply the negatives.
Well, if you named one of them after him, you could probably make an electric car, and he'd be running back to Congress saying, "No, put the incentives back on." That's all you got to do. You just got to name it after him. Say it was his idea. You say that the electric car was his idea, and every factory in the United States would be getting government subsidies to manufacture electric cars. It's ridiculous.
You're right, though. As ridiculous as that sounds, you're absolutely right.
It's all an ego thing. I can't wait till we're out of it. And I don't know that we're ever going to really be out of it. All right.
So I'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, right?
11 o'clock for drive time. And then, of course, we'll, like I said, we'll look into that new Toyota a little bit more. We have some license plate news from the state of Washington, some road news from the state of Washington. And we'll do a deeper dive back into the and the funnest interior in a car I've been in a long time is the Mustang 2 that I was just driving. I think I showed you had a karaoke machine in it.
Yeah.
And the karaoke machine has Italian songs in it.
And Bad Bunny too, right?
Driving down the street singing Dean Martin and Louis Prima to a karaoke machine.
Well, did you see?
God bless you.
Did you see the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics when Andrea Bocelli sang Nessun Dorma from Turandot by Puccini? And it was.
I saw. You know what? I had the sound down actually. I taped it, so I wanted to see watch the whole thing. It must have been spectacular.
It was beautifully done and so emotional. And the presentation, the orchestra and the choir and everyone singing with underneath and backing up Andrea Bocelli. It's a tough one. It's a tough, incredibly demanding aria and beautifully written, incredibly emotional. And he did a great job. And it's harder for him because that song was owned by Luciano Pavarotti in terms of who could do it the best. There was a guy years before that named U.C. Bjorling. He was Scandinavian, but his parents were both opera singers, and so he was raised in Italy, and he was a tenor. And his version of Nessun Dorma is the only one that I would put up against Luciano Pavarotti's for comparison. He's a mostly forgotten tenor now, but he had some great recordings. U.C. Bjorling, I salute him, and anybody who can sing Nessun Dorma, hit those high C's at the end. You have my sincerest admiration.
I'm surprised that I didn't see anything about him when I visited the Nordic Museum last Thursday night. I got a chance, not last night, but the night before, first Thursday. I went to the Nordic Museum, but granted, I only was there for an hour and a half or 2 hours, so I didn't get to see everything. But I didn't see anything about him. I was surprised. I would think that there would be, because I think that Nordic opera singers are not a common thing.
I think you're right.
I don't remember another one. Plenty of Spaniards, plenty of Italians, obviously. Russians.
Russians get the basso profundos and the baritones, but the Italian tenor is the world standard for excellence and power.
Yeah. So I'll have to keep that in mind. I want to know a little bit more about him. All right, Mikey. I will see you on Monday. See everybody else. If you don't forget to tune in to Drive Time tomorrow at 11 o'clock on all our socials. And please do me a favor. Go to Golden V Media on YouTube and hit our like and subscribe if you're listening on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, you're not listening on YouTube, go to YouTube, punch in Golden V Media, and hit that subscribe button. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, and I want to get there actually pretty soon because we can expand it'll expand our listenership. And once you get to 1,000 subscribers, they tend to give you more exposure, and we could use the exposure without me exposing myself.
Good point.
I'm wearing a 3-corner hat. What more do you want? All right, Mikey. See you Monday if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise. And my friend, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine. See you, Vin. Have a great weekend.
Have a good one. All right. Thank you all for listening, too. We always appreciate it. And we will see you on Monday. Take care.